If God is all-loving, all-powerful, and all-knowing, why didn't he just forgive us? Why create a multi-thousand-year saga of curses, genocides, sacrifices, and suffering? If God had simply forgiven Adam and Eve from the start, there'd be no Bible, no need for Christianity, no crucifixion, and definitely no hell, just a fresh start. But instead we got floods, plagues, and a blood-soaked execution. And somehow, that's supposed to be merciful? It raises a simple question. Why does forgiveness require suffering? Why does an all-powerful being need such a convoluted plan when the simplest solution was always right there? If God is all-loving, then forgiveness should be easy, effortless. Humans do it all the time. Parents forgive their kids. Friends forgive each other. Courts grant pardons. But according to Christian doctrine, God couldn't just forgive. No. He needed centuries of ritual sacrifices, and then a gruesome death. His own son nailed to a cross. Why? What purpose did that serve? It gets worse when you realize the Bible contradicts this entire premise. God forgave people without sacrifices multiple times. He forgave the people of Nineveh, no blood. He forgave David, no punishment. The prodigal son was welcomed home with a feast, not a beating. So why was Jesus even necessary? If forgiveness was already happening without bloodshed, then the crucifixion wasn't just cruel, it was completely pointless. That's not divine love. That's the logic of a horror movie villain. Imagine a parent saying, "I can forgive you, but first I have to kill your older sibling to feel better about it." That's not mercy, that's abuse. By choosing not to forgive from the beginning, God supposedly set off a chain of disasters. Original sin? Unnecessary. The flood? Unnecessary. Jesus' execution? Avoidable. Hell? Shouldn't exist. And speaking of the flood, God kills almost every living thing on earth because humanity was sinful. But he already knew it wouldn't change anything. He's all-knowing, right? So he knew sin would return. It's like burning down your house because of ants, only to move back in and act surprised when the ants come back. If the flood didn't solve the problem, and Jesus' death didn't eliminate sin, then what did this plan actually accomplish? A loving God would prevent suffering, not create it. Yet here we are, and somehow, the blame is always on us. God could have just said, "My bad," and everything would be fine. Now, let's talk about the excuses Christians give for why God didn't just forgive. Excuse number one, God is just. He can't ignore sin. But if that's true, why did he forgive people without punishment in other parts of the Bible? And what kind of justice punishes an innocent person in place of the guilty? That's not justice. That's scapegoating. If a murderer goes free because an innocent man takes the fall, you don't call that justice. You call that corruption. God's version of justice looks more like a human sacrifice cult than a moral standard. Excuse number two, free will. God allows sin so we can choose good. But then why punish Adam and Eve for making a choice? Why curse all of humanity for the actions of two people? If free will is the point, punishing people for using it defeats the entire purpose. That's like handing someone a knife and then blaming them for cutting something. If removing sin would remove free will, then how does heaven work? Is there free will in heaven? No sin there. Seems like the argument falls apart. Excuse number three, God's plan requires suffering. Suffering brings us closer to him. Really? Then why do babies die? What's their spiritual lesson? Why do animals suffer? They don't even have sin. If pain is necessary, then heaven should be the most painful place of all, right? But no, heaven is painless. So suffering clearly isn't required for closeness to God. It's just a byproduct of a poorly designed world. A truly loving creator wouldn't make pain the teacher. He'd just give us the knowledge without trauma. Excuse number four. Jesus' sacrifice was voluntary. He chose to die. But let's be honest, if you know you're coming back in 3 days and then get to be immortal, is it really a sacrifice? That's not dying for a cause. That's a weekend inconvenience. And let's not forget, it was God who demanded the sacrifice. That's like a mob boss saying, "I don't want to hurt you." But unless someone steps in, you're getting whacked. It's not divine justice. It's a protection racket with celestial flair. So here's the bottom line. If God truly loved us, there'd be no curse, no Bible, no hell, No need for rituals or blood or suffering. A truly loving God would have just forgiven from the start. And the fact that he didn't tells us either God isn't real, or he really, really likes suffering. Either way, it's a bad system. Let me know in the comments. What's the worst excuse you've heard for why God couldn't just forgive? Thanks for watching. See you next time.